Okay, so I'm trying to post at least a video a day. I don't know if that is going to be possible because there's a few things going on behind the scenes right now, but I'm going to try. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. And go back and watch my previous videos and like those too if you have time. Now, in a previous video, maybe about 2 videos back, I talked about character descriptives and how some authors can get just a little hung up. The review basically reads, Auburn, Auburn, Auburn. Lady, we get that her hair is freaking auburn. You said it like 100 times. Ugh. He tucked some of my auburn hair behind my ear. Like, who the heck says that ever in life? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Amazon reviewer. So basically, okay, this author must have mentioned that the main female character had auburn hair a bajillion times in like 30 some chapters. Now, in the case of the book that I was just talking about, I actually liked the book. Despite the relentless use of the word Auburn, it was still actually a really good book. I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars, 4 out of 5 stars. But I actually came across another book that I never actually finished it, to be perfectly honest. But I had started reading it yesterday. I made it, I think, about 45 to 50% the way through, where we hit kind of a similar issue. And this is something that authors really need to watch. Again, we don't need certain descriptives beaten over our heads a million times. In this case, hazel brown eyes. The main female character had hazel brown eyes. The main male character had hazel brown eyes. His brother had hazel brown eyes. And his cousin had hazel green eyes. And she constantly brought it up. Constantly. We don't need to see the spark in their hazel brown eyes, the surprise in their hazel brown eyes, the shock in their hazel brown eyes, the glow in the hazel green eyes, the glint in the hazel green eyes, the anger in the hazel brown eyes. Sometimes you could just say eyes. Sometimes you can just say eyes, and that's fine. We don't need to be reminded of the color. Again, a lot of times you can just describe the character at the beginning of the book. Like, the female character will kind of give us a description of the male character. The male character will describe the female character. We'll kind of get that picture, and a lot of times we'll just throw that picture out because we might have an idea of our book boyfriends, or some people have a book girlfriend in our heads, like Henry Cavill or Chris Hemsworth or Robert Downey Jr. or whoever, and that's who we're going to picture in the book anyway. So you don't have to get heavy on the descriptives relentlessly, unless it's like a pivotal point of the book. Like in the particular book that I was reading, one point in the book was that she was a plus-sized curvy woman, and I could see bringing that up. But she didn't bring that up. She didn't bring that up as often as the hazel brown eyes. The hazel brown eyes was more important than the fact that she was a plus-size curvy woman. You think that the fact that she was a plus-size curvy woman would have been more important, considering that was literally the whole point of... Anyway. Believe it or not, over-descriptives are not the only issue that authors kind of fall into. Sometimes using the wrong descriptives can also be a pitfall. And this falls under the category of you really need a good editor, especially if you're going to self-publish. Now, sometimes I know a lot of self-publishers don't use professional editors. Sometimes they'll try to edit themselves using Grammarly. And you know what? If you need to save money, that's fine if you know what you're doing, because a lot of times some authors are pretty good editors, but a lot of times they're not. I have read some pretty abysmally edited books, and you know what? It's really fun, like if you're a beginning author and you're self-publishing and you're self-editing, but if you're going to be charging like $5.99 for a Kindle and you're not going to make it available on Kindle Unlimited, that's just a no. You're gonna need to get that professionally edited if you want to sell it for that much and not offer it on Kindle Unlimited, especially if you're gonna make some pretty glaring like editing errors. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. But an editor is really going to help you from pitfalls like this. Now, in the book with the hazel eyes, and that I said I never really quite finished, and I just kind of gave up halfway through, to be perfectly honest. But the main male character is a very typical manly man, masculine, former athlete turned COO. I mean, the way she described him as how he carried himself during his point of view, the way he talked, the way he carried himself, you just get kind of a sense of how masculine this guy is. So when we had a certain scene, and it was a spicy scene, basically, there was one word that stood out so boldly in the wrong way, and it could have been so easily fixed by interchanging it with another word that a good editor would have been able to grab that right away and fix it, and it would have made all the difference. I had to edit it a little bit, obviously, because, you know, the cussing and everything, but it's kind of down, like, I'll just read it a little bit. Neither of us react. I slide an arm around her waist and press my manhood against her tummy. She moans into my mouth. Every cell in my body is about to explode. I slide my arm around her waist and press my manhood against her tummy. Okay, so again, the reason this struck me as odd is because we had already set up this character description of this guy as being very masculine, very alpha, very athletic, COO, you know, just the whole, drops a lot of F-bombs, just highly sexualized, and he's using the word tummy during this very spicy scene. I pressed my manhood against her tummy. It was so out of place that it actually ruined the mood in a way. It actually kind of ruined the scene. If they would have interchanged the word stomach for tummy, it would have made all the difference. I slide an arm around her waist and pressed my manhood against her stomach. She moans into my mouth. You see the change in that, using the word stomach versus tummy, especially when you're talking about his point of view. Tummy is so, like, immature sounding, especially coming from him. A good editor really should have found that and said, let's interchange that word. So again, descriptives are important. They can set a scene and they can kill a mood. And they can also be a little bit obnoxious, so that's something authors really got to watch for. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to go watch my previous videos, like, subscribe, and share.